I became conductor of the band in 1971, and at that time I was still teaching at American University after having spent 12 years in the public schools teaching music. And when I finished at American, I went to George Mason University, spent the next 22 years there teaching music, and Matt Hines, who was one of the two people that started the band, Phil Fuller being the other one, Matt asked me if I'd be interested in taking the band over after the second year, and I said yes, I would be interested. We started off with about 40 people, I think, mainly high school students, Rick and Daria Perel, who are still in the band.
In the early days, there were families. There were a lot of fathers and children, or husbands and wives, and that was something that he nurtured. Dr. Hill loved the fact that Rick and I grew up in this band, and he included our children.
People wanted to be in his group, and a lot of that was because he was such a well-respected member of the music community here in Fairfax. And he always tried to have programs that were not only entertaining but also educational for the audience.
When we started out, we did many different things. In the first 3 years of its existence was marching in the 4th of July parade. My second year of working with the band, we began to do winter concerts as well. But also during the year, we played for the opening of Little League at their park. We played for the swearing in of the mayor and the city councilman. We played for the 5K run that used to start on the football field at Fairfax High. Gradually, the band began to evolve into more of a symphonic band, which is what it is now, because conductors have their wishes for the group to get better and play more difficult music. So we grew from about 40 until when I left, there were about 80 musicians performing in the concert band.
It's evolved from very much a student-oriented band into an adult band.
I think most of the people in the section thought, holy smoke, we'll never be able to play this. This is tough music. Tom Hill just expected that we would be able to play it, and he led us and guided us through playing it, taught it to us, and the result, by concert time, had virtually the whole band playing, I thought, over our heads. And yet it happened time and again that he would program something challenging, something musically significant, meaty, something that the players and the audiences could really get their feelings into. And then the band would rise to the occasion just by the performance standards that Tom Hill expected and that he, through his leadership, helped us reach.
I receive a sense of pride in this band every time I play.
And it's great to know that our group can provide a sense of community for Fairfax City.
One of the other highlights that I thought was just a great thing to play for were the Iran hostages who were taken hostage in 1979, and one of those hostages lived in Comstock, right near Pickett Shopping Center.
And we went up one very cold January day and we played for a celebration of his return.
And who was playing? The city band was playing and the mayor was there and the whole city council. And it was just a lot of fun. It was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
We have come to this field to celebrate the triumph of an idea that freedom will eventually triumph over tyranny.
The Yorktown experience was absolutely unforgettable. The whole experience was tremendous. That it was the City of Fairfax band that was playing there. It was the only other band other than the French Marine Band.
There were hundreds of reenactors with all sorts of uniforms that depicted the British, and of course this was the commemoration of the victory at Yorktown. It was the 200th anniversary.
And just thousands and thousands of people. And the band got some very good publicity from that too.
Tom Hill was on the podium for a lot of memorable occasions, including the concert hall stage of the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts. I think a lot of community groups get to play in the Great Hall, not that many on stage.
The Woman Choir of Washington, D.C. and the City of Fairfax Band.
They invited us to be part of that four-hour-long Christmas Eve at the Kennedy Center.
We played those for several years, and that was just such a thrill. It was broadcast nationally over the radio, and the audience was full, and people would come and go, and initially we played many hours. We would come off the stage, come back on the stage, and we were almost featured, and that was just a lot of fun.
We also accompanied the Washington Mormon Choir and the National Christian Choir. And then we played 5 performances in the grand foyer of the Kennedy Center. Of course, it was exciting being at the Kennedy Center. You know, you feel here again where everybody's ego was feeling good about that, and it was just a lot of fun. The band had been called by Mayor George Snyder the city's best ambassador. And then he stopped off at Rehoboth and Bethany beaches where the band was playing in the 1980s. And that's when he heard us and saw the crowds that were there, which were considerable. To label the band as belonging to the city of Fairfax, and by the same token that this association made people identify the city with music, which I think is a good thing.
When Dr. Hill said that he was going to retire, a lot of people had the feeling, where are we ever going to get anybody as good as Tom Hill? The fact that we were able to go from an irreplaceable music director like Tom Hill to a talented and energetic and skilled music director like Bob Pouliot, who's just met everything. If we didn't have him, I don't think that the band could have continued at his high level of performance and accomplishment.
think Bob has taken the band to another level. He's very proactive about raising money and trying to do better concerts and involve more guest artists and newer arrangements.
The way he sets up programs and his ideas are really very ingenious, and I think that has elevated the band to a special level too, because we do some shows that we're talking about Broadway quality, at least I think so, and I think that's pretty special.
I do feel a very deep sense of pride working with these people. They are so committed to what they do. They all come to rehearsal on a Wednesday night after a long day of work. It's in many ways the worst day of the week to have a rehearsal, because that's the middle of the week hump day and people are really tired coming in and cranky. But that seems to break down as we get into playing music and working together and working toward a common goal. It really feels good to be a part of something that's special.
Bob Pouliot has worked tirelessly to make this city band be a competitor in drawing audiences when you're in an area that has so many wonderful groups and so many professional groups and so many symphonies.
As far as the community, even the city of Fairfax community, but certainly the Northern Virginia community, it's still a bit of a light hid under a bushel. I think that if people would find themselves in our audience, they would say, where have they been keeping this group? I want to come back and hear them some more.
The City of Fairfax Band offers people who live in and around Fairfax and actually the greater metropolitan DC area an outlet for their talents and their abilities. But we also provide a lot of opportunities for people in the community to come out and hear some free performances of good music. That happens during the summertime with a very active summer series. With some of our smaller ensembles, we're giving back to the community in terms of giving them some entertainment.
I don't think there are too many bands in existence now, it's community bands, that play an awful lot better than our City of Fairfax band does now.
It's probably one of the few really good bands in the country, community groups, and I think the reason being is because of the wealth of good amateur musicians in this area.
When nobody has to be there, everybody's there by choice. It's a labor of love for everybody. So it's not a matter of cracking the whip and bearing down. It's a matter of leading by expectation and by teaching, by a spirit and disposition of communication that come across on the podium. Tom Hill had that. Bob Pouliot has that.
Competition, so to speak, for an audience are groups like the Army Band, the Marine Band, the Navy Band, and the Air Force Band. So being able to even survive in that atmosphere, where in a lot of places in the country, community bands are the only show in town. Not so here, so it's very difficult for us to bring the people in and keep them interested. But the fact that we've been around for 40 years says that we've been doing something right.